going on, everyone? It's Rando back with another one. I know I'm usually doing stuff with guns, hunting, but I really love fishing. Ice fishing is super fun. That being said, if you're new to this, which I was just a couple years ago, you might need some basics or pointers. Now my friend Quentin is out here with me today, and there's a lot of things I'm going to stress. I'm going to go over a little bit of the equipment because we do not have any fish finders out with us, any like the panoramic view things to drop down in a hole. We have basic gear that you can go to a lot of sporting goods stores or even online and pick up. Some of our tip ups behind me, just in case they go off, I do have some ahead. Now in the state of Pennsylvania, you're allowed just a couple out a person, so we're sticking to that legal amount. So you definitely got to know your rules and regulations because you don't want to get in trouble just for trying to have fun, God forbid. Real quick, because whenever you're going out, now this is first ice. Now I know everything is super white around me, it's been cold, but this is our first time out. So the biggest thing I can stress, which is probably a mistake that some people might make whenever they think about ice fishing, is going alone. You might wear a life jacket whenever you first go out. Have a whistle with you, have other safety equipment. That being said, it's very possible that if you're alone, that what you're blowing a whistle is basically playing your own tune while you drown because nobody's here to actually help you. And I'll show you here real quick what we did whenever we came out. It was basically one at a time. Quentin was tethered off because he's way braver than I am. And we're using a rope basically and a spud bar. The spud bar is here. Now this is a big honking one, but basically it has kind of like staggered down spikes in it. You don't need one of these to go out, but I'd recommend a stick to at least kind of, as you're going, poke down, see if it takes a couple whacks to get through the ice so you can kind of gauge how thick it is as you're moving forward. It'd be really terrible to be moving forward, you go to smack this, it plows right through the ice, you have all your gear on a sled behind you or even on your back and be thinking, oh great, how am I going to back out of this? So whenever we first came out, not gonna lie, I'm gonna turn it here. So you're gonna see, Quentin.
I got a jaw jacker off.
Oh, let's go. So again, no special equipment. Just kind of out here doing our thing. There we go. Ah, perch. Nice. Okay. So, like I said, whenever we were first coming in, there's the shore. We walked down, we drilled a test hole, and that hole was actually about 5 real inches, not 5 man inches. And I don't know if you can see, but as we went out, we kind of slowly went and did a little bit of testing, especially with our spud bar. We actually made it out there a little bit, only to realize that the ice itself was probably not the safest. So we had decided to back off, and we kind of just went one at a time for safety. And this is first ice, so with first ice, you're trying to figure out where your deep spots are, and the first step of anything that you have to have is just the safety part. Do me a favor, go with somebody. I know out west there's some big lakes frozen over, those people are driving trucks on it, but here in Pennsylvania, first ice, we're going along just trying to be cautious, trying to have a good time. We've already caught 3 fish now using just basic equipment, and we're not too far offshore, so you can have success doing that. There is actually a gentleman fishing out from us a little bit. He got here about the same time we did, but he is by himself. He is kind of sticking a lot closer to shore. Maybe he chested the ice earlier or what have you. I don't know, but he's kind of doing his thing. The only nice thing is, even though he's by himself, we're still here. If we see something happen, we're gonna do whatever we can to help him. We always carry a rope to throw to someone. We have life jackets. We have extra clothes, pretty much any safety equipment you can think of, just to at least be able to help or get out of the ice. It's really advisable to wear like the neck collar picks, which I have mine in my bag. So obviously I'm a dummy for not wearing them right this second, but currently I'm standing on some pretty decent ice to try to talk to you. But they're to kind of help get yourself up and out of the ice if you fall through. But again, make sure you're always with somebody. Let's talk about a little bit of the gear we have because like I said, we're having success, not using anything special, just dropping down some average equipment that you can buy. One of the types of setups we're using, whether it's Frabill or this says Polar tip up, are these kind of more modern tip ups, okay? Now it has a basic flag. You got your spool down here. Obviously you're gonna wanna tighten this once it's down in the hole. You're gonna set depth with this little button here. That's why if you ever see a button on our lines, we're actually setting depth with that. We're dropping it down with a weight, or you can even just clamp on some forceps, drop it down, figure out where you're touching bottom, bring it up so that this, once you drop this down into the water and you're counting for this distance, is maybe sitting 1.5 feet off the bottom to hopefully give you some success where the fish are kind of cruising through looking for food. This will sit down. This actually goes here. And then as the fish kind of starts to pull, it sets it off. Now you will have wind sets, which we've had a few already this morning, where the wind will actually set off these tip ups and give us a little bit of a false alarm and a little bit of excitement. You go running over to find out your minnow is still there tugging away. Now with these, we're using live bait. Fortunately, Quentin was nice enough to make this DIY minnow container. Pretty cool, so go check out his channel, Wet Dreams. Definitely need something like that, but live bait, I'd recommend that. If you're gonna sit there and just drill a hole and actually drop a line with a rod, which here's some rods, it's actually kind of like a little ice fishing rod, and you have your little jig, you might put like a couple like maggots on there or wax worms, and you sit in your hole and you're actually jigging. Now you still really need to find bottom with this setup. A lot of people, that's whenever you see them sitting there and they're using like the live scopes or oh, flag, we got one, another one. There we go. See, basic stuff, just out trying. Well, while he's running to that, you sit there and you kind of just jig. It's good to have a little bit of live bait on that though. You could even just sit there with a minnow too, to be honest with you. I have a rod set up like that. His one rod like this is in the jaw jacker. But you do kind of need to get little rods. These can be had for very cheap. I have a couple of these. The guy I used to work with, his name was Steve. He's a nice guy. His grandfather had these. He said, hey Randy, do you want some ice fishing tip ups? And I said, sure as heck do. These are old school ones. Again, your hook and everything is on the spool. You're gonna drop it down just the same way to find depth. I got my button on there. You got your nice little flag here, which I do need to replace that part. But you have this kind of little metal wire, and I don't know if you can see it, but it moves, okay? So as this spool is going, there's kind of a little mark on it. And these are like honestly my favorite ones to use because they're old. Maybe there's some history behind it, but it's just cool. You see them in action, you see them working. So let's go ahead and you're gonna bend the flag down. You wanna catch this kind of little retainer that's right here. So you see how that's nice and held? So you get a fish and it starts to run the line and it turns that little metal rod and your flag goes up. Pretty cool. Simple, easy, effective. I like it. These just kind of sit over the hole, like whenever you spread out the little sides to it. Let's see if I've got a fish now. Did you get one? Yep, you got a perch. Very cool. So we're out here, no special equipment, having a good time, and you can too. But what you really need, you need some form of a tip up or rod. That's a must, because what are you gonna do? Come out here and just sit on the ice for fun? Well, you could, like those geese that are sitting over there. But you're gonna have to have a way to drill a hole. Now some people use chainsaws, some people will just sit there with an axe. Others are gonna use an ice auger. I got this one cheap, it works. I like it, just hooked it up to my regular old drill and it blasts a hole just fine. I'll show you how to drill a hole here in a minute. And you're probably gonna need a scooper, unless you want cold hands, to sit there and go ahead and kick the slush away and then kind of scoop out the hole. You're gonna need rods, as I said, and then you're gonna need bait and a little bit of tackle. For coming out on a day like today, in all honesty, what I really use, I have like hooks of varying sizes. I actually use just like panfish and trout hooks a lot of time because it works out. So you can grab those, and pretty much every Walmart has it. Get some good sinkers, and you just need some replacement line and maybe some forceps. That's all you really need to actually get out and have fun. You don't have to have the expensive equipment. You're just out here enjoying it. Now, as time goes on, we're gonna be able to move farther out on the ice, and I think that's gonna be a lot more fun because once we get a little bit into deeper water, right now we're kind of on about maybe anywhere from 8 to 12 feet. Once we can hit some deeper water, I think we're gonna get into some more fish. But for a morning of kind of just winging it, it's going really well. I don't even wanna spool it necessarily. Oh, there it goes. It's spooling.
Yeah, I see the line running to the left.
There we go. Something's on there. Feels decent.
Perch, it could be a wall of the eye. Ooh, walleye! Oh yeah!
Woo. Move around a little bit, buddy. I just want to measure you because I want to get you back if you're not legal. Still got 0, and we are at 15.5.
That's a keeper.
That's a keeper. Again, basic equipment, out having fun, live bait, warm clothes, you're good to go. See what kind of ice you're dealing with there in front of you. Then you just want to drill. But make sure if your auger doesn't have like this big puck on there to catch it, that you're holding onto it in some way, because we've been there before where you have your nice auger and it goes right through the hole. So don't want to do that. that was a little bit more grueling than I wanted, but I think my battery's kind of dying. So I brought another. Kind of want to clear your slush off. And then your scooper is just for this reason, so your hands aren't getting cold. And that's all. And you'll use a nice little setup like this to drop your line down. Show you a little setup. So again, live bait, not using any great size hook. It's probably honestly like a number 8. Actually, what size do you think that is?
Yeah, probably like 8 or 10.
Yeah, okay, so nothing fancy. Literally just something I use for trout. I already have my depth measured. Because we have to account for this depth going down in. And this was on the old school tip hook. You don't have to, nothing fancy. This is there, ready to go. Let's go check this one. I've hit a lot of things pretty quick there, but that's just to kind of give you a rough idea of what you really need to actually just get out. Biggest thing you need is someone to go with. Now, don't go alone, especially on first ice. You're gonna need your auger, you're gonna need a scooper or your hands, and some rods and a little bit of tackle and hopefully live bait. Your spud bar to kind of go out ahead of you, smack the ice to make sure that nothing's going through. And again, whatever safety equipment you want to take is going to be a plus. A life jacket even, and especially if you have a friend and you have some rope, it's all just for safety. Because once you know that you're safe and in a good spot with good ice to walk on, then you're going to have a good time. If not, you're having a bad time. But just go out there. Behind me is basic equipment, nothing special, and actually having success. As always, be safe, be kind. Thanks for watching. Take care, God bless, and I'll catch you next time.